Man, always got to remember to unmute yourself. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on Friday, September 11th. Obviously, a very important and memorable date for a lot of reasons. I think many of us were all aware of why, and we will discuss that a little bit here on Seahawk Talk. But it's not going to be a somber show. We don't want to be a somber show because remembering and never forgetting you have to remember the good and the bad. And so we're going to try and have that message here today on Seahawk Talk. And we have a loaded program to give you. We have Sean Foster. We have Colin Clapton, who will be on instead of Zech Klann here today. Coach David Lund of the women's ice hockey team, his first appearance on Seahawk Talk, along with two women's basketball players, Brooke Vonasek and Mary Rorke. So before we get into that and talk with our producers, we're going to listen to Ed sing and dance. That song, The Shake, a Rhode Island-based band with Keep Your Distance. I can't get it out of my head. Every day before and after this program, that song is just running through my head. I can't get it out of my head. So I guess thank you, but also, Ed, how could you do this to us? But yes, I'm Andrew Pizzelli, filling in for Ed Habishaw here today on the program. As I said, a loaded program. And I'd like to get to one of our producers now, Joey Morelli, backstage. And
Hello.
We'll bring him in onto the show. Joey, how are you doing here today?
Pretty good. It's Friday, I'm excited. Weekend, no more class.
Yes, TGIF. So the first Friday of the year for Salve, for the Salve community. Led the show. I mentioned again. We said it's 9/11. Two numbers, a date that 19 years ago was just another day, and obviously a day that no one would ever forget in American history going forward because of the terrorist attacks in New York City and Washington D.C. For me, I honestly can't believe it. It's been 19 years. I remember I was in fifth grade. I was sitting. It was our first day of class. There was a strike in Narragansett. So it was our first day of class. We started late, and the telephone's ringing while our teacher's just starting to go over some stuff for the first day. And all of a sudden, we're all being sent home. And I think at that age, fifth grade, we understood, what had happened when we're being told, and we see it on TV. But you don't really get the whole scope of it. And then the coming years, getting to learn more and educate yourself. I had a chance to go to New York this 2 years ago almost and go to the 9/11 Memorial and the museum there. And unbelievable. We could get into details about that. You could spend days there learning and seeing the things that are there in commemorates of people, educating on what happened and what happened since. And, obviously everything about the first responders and everything. But for me, I can't believe it's been 19 years. For someone like you, Joey, you were what, maybe two, three?
I would be
9/11
two. I would be like just barely not 3 because I was born in October of '98.
So does any of it at all? Did it register? Do you have a memory of that happening, or is it just
not at all?
So it's just something you learned about later in school. Like, my God, I was alive for that.
Yeah, that was like I remember. We never really believed them, but like the grade above us, like they had memories. Like people would ask us like, oh, do you remember like if we ever had a speaker? And the grade above us said that they kind of remembered it. And, but like we never did. Like it was always like after us. It was like, no, it's just like a thing we heard about that happened. Like, cause we were all, most of us like weren't even in school. Like we weren't even preschool age. So like, it wouldn't even be something you'd really know happened.
Yeah. So, and what's it been like? I had a chance to go to the museum, the memorial. I think you said you went to New York. The museum wasn't open yet, but the memorial was.
Yeah.
Talk about going there and seeing. I know it's this incredibly powerful and moving place.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I was going to say. Like, it was just such like a, like, it's like hard to even put into words, like what that memorial's like. Like, it's just like, and it has like all the names around it and like just everything about it was just like we we were all like, it was like our 8th grade trip to New York, and like none of us had like been like, we were alive for it, but like we didn't remember it, and like like we almost cried, like us not even like being so distantly connected to it. And like none of us like knew, like I'm from Connecticut, like so some people like in Connecticut, you know, work in New York, but like no one related to us was really involved in it or anything. So like we had almost no connection, and just being there was like emotional for us. And like it's such a, like a powerful thing that like
And, yeah, absolutely. And if you ever have a chance to get back, anybody who ever has a chance to go to the museum should do it. Like I said, I spent 5 hours in there with some friends, and you barely scratched the surface. But the amount of information, the amount of things like objects and stuff that they have, and you get to see like these cross beams from the original towers, because you're basically on the footprint of the original 2 towers. And then just all the stories you can go and basically learn about everyone, every first responder, everyone who unfortunately died in those attacks. Everyone's story is preserved there, which is an amazing testament to the people who worked on a project like that, to give everyone a voice, because there's just so many stories. You don't have enough time here to go over all the stories you hear about the brave men and women who went into the tower, some who came out, some who didn't. And then they have an entire section dedicated to sports and the connection to 9/11, because obviously kind of like there's a lot of parallels. I felt, Joe, we were talking about this, like to now, where the world kind of shut down for a couple of days there. The world, because of coronavirus, shut down, and there's a lot of parallels between how that took away our sense of security, and then right now a lot of our sense of security isn't there. And coming out of that, people turn to sports. They turn to these other things to draw unity and that American pride. And hopefully, obviously, with everything, there's so much going on right now in our country. We don't want sports to be a distraction, but I think what we've seen with like what the NBA's done, it's a chance for us to come together, and hopefully those places use that as a vehicle for that. Because George Bush throwing out the first pitch of the World Series, all the amounts of celebrating first responders and things that happened afterwards. It was an incredible display of patriotism, which I hope that, like we said, we don't want these things to be distractions, but they should be places for comfort and unity.
Yeah, like it's like sports are like such a great like unifier. Like it's not like a distraction. It's like it's like it's bringing people together and like reminding. It's reminding people that like everything is different, but like it's not like a completely brand new world. Like the world as we know it still exists. And like I think sports is like one of those definite like bastions of like normalcy to an extent, because like even though like some people like you can't go to games as often, like you've always watched sports on TV, so it's not like that strange and different. And it's like one of the things that I think like you can point to and be like, see, some things are still normal. And like, because change is scary, people don't like change. And so sports I think have always kind of just been the same to an extent, like for that comfort level type of thing, I think.
Yeah. So as we said, 9/11 today, we'll never forget. Like for Joey, it's I'm sure it's something, it's ingrained. I mean, it's something for you. It's something that was taught, which is mind-boggling for someone like me, and then obviously those older than me. But that's kind of the message today. The whole never forget thing. We talked before about cliches and how they are cliche, but there's truth in them. That's why there's cliches, and we want to never forget everything around that day. We're trying to get Sean Foster into the show. I know he's our first guest here today. We have Sean Foster. We have Colin Clapton coming up after him. David Lund, his first appearance on Seahawk Talk. And then we wrap up the show with Mary Rorke and Brooke Vonasek. So hoping that Coach Foster can get into the show quick. And if
you've summoned him.
If he is here, speak and he shall appear. So if Sean is ready, let's thank you, Joey, for coming on here at the beginning. We'll talk to you later on at the end of the program, and we can go now to Sean Foster.
Let's push on in.
Coach, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Pez?
Good. We kind of had a discussion at the start here. You didn't get to hear it because you were, with some technical difficulties. But we were talking obviously about today. We know what today is. It's 9/11. Myself, I was a kid, but I remember it. Joey was alive, but he was 2 years old, and it's something that he had to learn and was taught about. We talk about never forgetting, but that also means remembering. What do you remember about that day?
Yeah, tragic. Obviously, my initial memory is that I was in Ochre Court working as an admissions counselor, and I was alerted to it by a friend who was instant messaged me to tell me what was going on, if that dates me at all. It was that long ago that we were still communicating that way, but that's how I had found out initially. So, it's certainly a solemn day in the country, and one that all those thousands of people should be remembered for the sacrifices.
Yeah. We also drew the comparison how that was a moment that took away our sense of security, and things that could bring us back to normal were so important. And we realized this thing is sports had a big part to play in that. Flash forward now, we have the coronavirus. Again, what can sports play in terms of bringing us that sense of security that we want, and that sense of normalcy, while also still having perspective?
Right. I mean, I think it's been very uplifting just to see some of the leagues come back, with the TBT in the summer and the NBA from a basketball standpoint, and then certainly the NFL starting again last night, and college football. It gives you hope that we're getting through this thing.
Yeah. Now let's talk about you specifically in your season. You've gotten some of your guys back on campus. I'm sure you're starting to, now the wheels are spinning, planning for the upcoming year. You're hopeful for a January start date with your team. What are you excited about? And you obviously you lose last year's seniors, but I'm sure you have a good group of juniors and seniors this year. What are you excited about for your team in the future?
Yeah, I mean, number one, getting back in the court at some point here. Very excited for that. It's good. Today I saw some of the women's team shooting around in the gym, and that kind of gave me a little energy, a little spark that we're around the corner here. So it's definitely different. It's going to be a different semester, but I'm excited about getting back on the court with the returners, and then working with some of the new guys that are coming along. You mentioned we did lose a couple of great seniors, and Andrew Bronstein and Tyler Benjamin, great culture guys, but their legacy, as I said last year, will be the guys that are going to lead this year. And we have 4 seniors and 3 juniors that are just solid. And we finally have a situation again where our upper class is a good number of student athletes, and so it's going to make my job easier. I think that they know what to do, and we'll hit the ground running when we get back on the court.
Yeah, it feels so strange. It feels like it was just yesterday you had such a young team. It was like, oh, we have all these young guys we don't know what we're going to have. And now all of a sudden it's a veteran group. Like you said, that has to be a good feeling, knowing, okay, we kind of know what we have going in, and it's just working on some of the little things. It
happens really fast. I mean, the 4 years fly. We say that at the beginning, and I talking to Andrew Bronstein this morning, and he's coaching. He's starting his coaching career. So it seems like just yesterday he was a freshman. So, you're very fortunate to have these guys. I mean, you have your 3 leading scorers back, and, the 4 seniors and 3 juniors there. It's going to be a little bit different with practice, but we'll find our rhythm and work on a lot of individual stuff early, and then hopefully get to a point where we're playing, getting up and down before the semester ends, and then preparing for games and contests in January, February.
Yeah. Where is Andrew Bronstein coaching?
He's at Wheaton College in Massachusetts. So
now I don't know for you guys. Are you guys going to be conference only schedule, or will you be seeing Wheaton College on the schedule?
Yeah, no, at this point it looks like conference only, and that's optimistic that we can get into the conference and play conference games, and then anything else would really be a bonus if it materialized non-league.
Yeah, well, coaching is trial by fire to begin with, let alone trying to get into coaching during this year.
Yes.
One of the elements of that is the recruiting aspect. What is it going to be like? Has there been any word on high school basketball, and how will all this impact your recruiting?
Yeah, it is. Certainly the spring and the evaluation period and the early summer were strained. It was a lot of film, but it hasn't missed a beat too much. New Hampshire opened up early, so I've actually been up there a few times, and in Connecticut seeing some live basketball. So the AAU persevered through the summer. So we were able to see some guys live, which was really helpful. Not as much as we would normally do, but we've had our priority list. We've had some guys on campus, so it's been helpful to get guys visiting, and we'll have some more here in the fall, and the cycle keeps going. I mean, the I feel bad for the seniors in high school and just talking to them. A lot of them are doing the remote learning thing, and some of them haven't even started their classes yet. They'll start next week, and they're trying to find their footing. And are they different states are different with if they're going to have high school sports or not in the fall and then the winter. So a lot of challenges, but the recruiting piece of it, you just adapt, and we've been able to keep that up.
Yeah. Have you been getting any video submissions of guys? Hey, coach, so-and-so here out in the Cape. Here's my 50-foot half-court shot. Hope you consider me for the roster. You getting any of those?
Certainly a lot of videos. Not a lot of half-court shots, but, nowadays everybody has their own highlight video, and the inbox is full.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Everybody likes Salve.
Yep. So, we kind of talked about there how, you're hopeful for a conference schedule in the spring. Mm-hmm. What about the NCAA? What about tournaments? I mean, I know it's kind of feel like up in the air from D1 to D3. There hasn't been any real word. What have you heard about how a national tournament could be conducted for all divisions?
Well, I know there's a strong push, especially from a financial standpoint, for the Division I tournament to go on. And whether that's, the ACC talking about pushing every team in the country to be in it, all the way down to 64 or 32 or maybe even a 16-team tournament. But the NCAA is meeting this month, actually, and they're going to talk about whether they're going to have a Division II and Division III tournament. So we're hopeful. And if they do have a Division III tournament, that will our league will be able to get going and have somebody to be able to participate in that.
Yeah. What would that be like? I feel like the bubble experience for professionals is one thing. Is there any parallel to draw? D1 guys, it's almost like a bubble when they go to March Madness tournament. Is it just going to be kind of normal? I'm sure these guys are already doing remote classes and stuff when you get to that level. How different is it going to be if that happens?
Yeah, I think basketball is unique in a lot of ways, and especially with the calendar, as is hockey. But with a lot of schools going to early breaks starting Thanksgiving area, and then not starting classes again until mid-January. A lot of campuses, and even the bigger ones, are going to have mostly athletes on the campus, December, January. So it almost creates its own bubble, and especially if they have athlete dorms, they're in their own bubble as it is. But, I think with an NCAA tournament, if they had a smaller number, there's some talk that they could bubble some teams and have it in all one location rather than, all the different sites that you've seen in the past. For Division III, I would think, it would be even more regionalized than it already is. And, the Northeast would have a section and other parts of the country as well. But it's definitely something that you've seen done well, at the NBA level, like you said. So they've had a lot of success with that. So anything that the NCAA can learn from that, I know they're doing.
Yep. Speaking of the NBA, a big Game 7 tonight in the NBA between the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. Could be the biggest win of the Brad Stevens era if they can pull it off. Obviously, the Raptors, they have that heart of a champion type thing going for them. They're going to be a tough out in big games. In Game 7, and for you, as a coach, do you treat those games just like any other game? That's the attitude you want to have, or do you feel like you need to give a little something extra? You have to maybe have an extra pep talk, get the guys into like, hey, this isn't any other game. What's your mindset as a coach with that?
Yeah, I think it's a little different at the college level because a big game, you may have seen that team one other time. It may be the first time you're playing them. If it's a conference tournament type of game, you may have seen them a couple times. This is Game 7. I mean, these teams have played each other 6 times to get to this point, and you add 2 overtimes the other night. So they know each other really well. I think it really at this point comes down to execution, and how they're going to execute their stuff. There may be a tweak here or there with the game plans, but you want to keep your guys level-headed and in the moment. And we try to preach that anyway with our guys. That not thinking about the play behind or the play ahead, thinking about the play that you're in. And I think Brad Stevens is such a great coach. He'll have them very well prepared, and hopefully they won't give up 19 points in an overtime session again. Like to see a little bit of defense tonight, and I think victory favors the team making the fewest mistakes, as they say. So I think that's going to be key tonight. they keep their turnovers down and get some stops, they certainly have the offensive firepower to win a Game 7.
Yeah, we're big Celtic fans at Salve, not just because we're a New England school and a Boston area school, but because we've been lucky enough to have them come in to our campus. Not many people can say that the Celtics come to Salve.
Yes,
that's going to be an awesome thing to tout. But Sean,
sure.
Thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Great, you too, Andrew. Thank you.
All right, take care now. That's Sean Foster, Salve Regina men's basketball head coach. We're going to go now to a Salve Regina alum, Colin Clapton, for our Salve Regina men's ice hockey team. If Colin is there. Colin, how are you?
Andrew, how you doing, man?
Clap, looks like are you out on a golf course right now?
I am currently in a golf match with Tyler Crangel, Vinny Render, and our buddy Don Franco, yeah.
Oh, my. Where are you hitting the links right now?
We are at Green Valley over in Middletown, so having a nice little Friday for us.
It's a little breezy right now, so how's the drive?
Hole one, we're even right now. Only one ball went out of bounds, I think. So we're not doing too bad.
It's always good. When you go to look for that ball, try and find a couple more. As long as you leave the course with more balls than you went with, that's a good day. That's how I judge
those things are expensive. You got to find some extra ones.
All right. Well, Colin, I wanted to ask you, you spent 3 years at Salve. You transferred in, got to be part of some of the most successful teams in Salve Regina program history. What was your experience like at Salve, and what do you really remember most about your time here?
I mean, you can't say like enough good things about it. They took me in when I was transferring, and obviously was a little nervous transferring in, but I came in with Andy Boschetto at the time, who was awesome. Took me in, like really showed me the culture and how he kind of held things at a high standard. And then obviously Coach Klann came in and continued that tradition. It was just the greatest 3 years. I met some of the best people, best teammates, and like you said, we had pretty good run at it. So I can't say enough good things about the program and Salve as a whole and the community. So that's pretty much.
I think I kind of know the answer based on what you just said, but what do you miss most about playing with Salve Regina?
Just being around the guys, just like being in the locker room all day. And I'm still fortunate enough where I get to do it, but it's not the same. You're going to school with these guys, you're eating with these guys, you're spending pretty much all day with them. So it's that's definitely what I miss the most, for sure.
If you could, can you sum Salve hockey up in one word?
Gritty.
Gritty.
We never had, like, we don't have the giant rink with a bunch of thousands of fans, right? We got a small little locker room and kind of just an attitude that we're going to take it to you. And that was kind of my experience with it. We worked with what we had and just kind of never looked back.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the space on the ice is the same everywhere.
Exactly. That's exactly the way we tried to look at it.
So you were fortunate enough, after playing at Salve, you got to go pro to the SPHL, Evansville Thunderbolts.
Yep.
And now I hear maybe possibly a trip to Europe.
Yeah. I'm working on a deal over in Norway, in Oslo. I'll just walk. So heading over there, obviously with this whole Corona thing, we don't really know when the date is yet. The season's supposed to start October 3rd, but I don't really know as of now, so I'll just walk it. So trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Very excited.
A lot of guys, the hockey world's interesting because you have D1 and then you have D3. You don't have anywhere in the middle. There's a lot of really talented guys that don't get to go D1 that are in the D3 program. And also there's still an opportunity to go pro. Some guys, there might be a misconception that D3 athletes, you can't go professional. There's a lot of guys now. The Salve program has a track record here of sending guys to the pros. What do you have to say about that? You can go D3 and still go pro?
It's hockey's, it's such a small world. And it's just so different from, like college, like you said, there's no Division II. I think there's 4 teams in it. And a lot of guys slip through the cracks, and they just kind of work hard throughout their time, and there's always an opportunity. It's obviously, you got Blake and Hatch and a couple guys who did it from my years. And you can go in the minor leagues or go over to Europe. But it's definitely, if you can play, they find you, and it's a cool experience to be able to do it and say you lived it. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a really unique opportunity for people and something that's a little bit different.
Yeah. Now, I do have something I want to get, your as a hockey mind, I want to get your analysis on something. This is a picture from your time at the Thunderbolts.
Okay.
Explain to me what happened. What were you seeing on this play, or not seeing? You're not really. Your eyes are focused away. I want to know what happened on this play and how many penalty minutes were you assessed?
If we're being honest, we played them. That was the top team in the league. And we were lower, and we played them on a Friday and beat them. And so Saturday they came out with a pretty fired up attitude, and it was off a face-off, and the other wingers dropped the gloves and fought. And that guy wanted to fight me, and I wanted nothing to do with it. So I just took action and went to his head, and then took my 4 minutes in the box and sat down and hid from the fight for a while.
How many games into your pro career was this?
That was my third game, I believe.
Third game. So
Yeah.
Pretty early on. I know you talked about Chase Hatcher. I think it was his first game pro. He dropped the gloves and went at it. That must be something that is maybe a shock, at least initially, because that can't happen in college. There's no fighting. It's a big no-no. And then all of a sudden you have guys ready to drop the gloves. It's like, oh,
yeah,
crud.
It was wild. Like I remember the first game. I was on the starting lineup, like first shift, and someone on our team got killed behind the net, and it suddenly, like, someone skates over, drops their gloves, and fights. And I remember just like standing next to people and just being like what is happening right now? Just like mind blown. Just like I went back to the bench and looked at my coach and was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Those guys are pretty tough dudes.
Yep.
But yeah, it was kind of crazy to see. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah. Well, Colin, thank you for coming on here today. Glad to have. It's good to see you. Normally, I know you get to stick around the team. We're in communication, but glad you could come on the show. And good luck if you can get over to Europe and keep your hockey career going.
Thank you very much, Andrew. It's always a pleasure to see you, man.
All right, take it easy, Clap. Keep them on the fairway. All right.
I'll try to. We got dinner at Chili's on the line, so I gotta perform here.
All right. Well, good luck. Tell the guys to say hi, and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Andrew. You as well.
All right. That's Colin Clapton, Salve Regina men's ice hockey alumnus. And we're going to keep it in the hockey world. And we're going to go now to our newest head coach at Salve Regina. David Lund is joining us here on the program. David, first off, congratulations on getting hired.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So this is our first chance to meet. Yep, I can hear you just fine. This is our first chance getting to meet.
All right, perfect.
Interact. This whole COVID thing with how separated we are, but glad that I see you've been able to get on campus and start to get acclimated. What was it like to get hired and go through that process during a pandemic like this? It has to have been absolutely a wild process.
Yeah, it was definitely a process. Trying to meet in person with masks and the distancing and everything was definitely a new experience. But now it's kind of status quo. You're used to it by now. But it was an experience to say the least. But I'm happy it's behind me now, and I'm glad that I'm a Seahawk.
Yeah, you spent time as a coach at Wesleyan. Talk about your experience there, and then what drew you to want to come to Salve Regina. What attracted you to Salve?
Yeah, absolutely. So the past 3 years have been as an assistant coach on the men's side with Wesleyan University. Great experience. Had the opportunity to work under Coach Potter, who's I think in his 18th year there. So definitely a veteran in the hockey community, and learned a lot. Was fortunate to be in that position. And then there's a lot that's gone on in my life. I recently had a baby. 6-month-old now. So, I think it was time to kind of step away from the position I was in and make forge a new path. And Salve offered a number of different opportunities from, taking over a program to the lifestyle here in Newport, Rhode Island. Obviously kind of supporting a family in a bigger role. So, there's a lot going on, and I think it started to check off all the boxes as we went down the list. So it was kind of a no-brainer at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now, have you had a chance to really meet your team yet? Everything, the whole craziness of everything, being a brand new head coach, I'm sure you want to get in, meet your team and get things going. What has that process been like?
Yeah, it's been tough to say the least. I have met with I would say close to 3/4 of the girls. Um, Still a few to meet. It takes a lot of time to get through this and manage everything else on top of that, and trying to get through everything. But it's it's been good to meet the girls in a face-to-face capacity. The initial meeting was via Zoom online, but it's definitely good to meet them face-to-face and have that interaction, get to know the program that I'm taking over, and some of my expectations, some of their expectations, and just to kind of again get to know them on a personal level.
Yeah. Now, how much can you do? Obviously, I assume there's probably no ice available right now for hockey players. What are the things you can tell your players to be doing to stay ready in case it is not until January that you guys get a shot to get on some ice and work on real hockey things? What can people be doing in the interim?
Yeah, so exactly. Our return to competition is the new year. We're scheduled to get on the ice towards the end of October. So we're going to be entering into a preseason phase. A lot of it is off ice conditioning, off ice strength conditioning. Right now, preparing themselves for when they get back on the ice that they're ready to go, and that we don't sustain any injuries. Because hockey is a little bit of a unique sport in the sense that it's tough to train for. Off the ice, you have to, you can't quite simulate it exactly off the ice. So we've got to do our best to prepare our bodies for that demand right when you get go, because there can be a lot of injuries, going from kind of hot to cold, so to say. Jumping right back on the ice right away and then going full bore, there's definitely the risk for injury. So preparing ourselves for that time is definitely first and foremost, and getting ready mentally and physically.
Yeah. Now, this will be the first year for women's ice hockey. They'll be competing in the Commonwealth Coast Conference. The women's ice hockey for Salve has kind of bounced around from conference to conference the last 4 or 5 years. Have you had a chance to meet and speak with any of the other conference coaches and start to, again, it's all going to be this digital stuff, but what it's been like, for obviously it'll be your first experience as a head coach, but that conference community, I know a lot of CCC coaches, talk about the community of the CCC and what that experience has been like trying to, as a first year head coach. I'm sure hopefully they've embraced you as everybody's getting into the conference for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had a few meetings so far. We've it's just going over like scheduling stuff right now, kind of work through the NCAA guidelines. It's obviously, as you can expect, there's a lot of hypotheticals going on, and just kind of waiting to see how the next week progresses, the next two, and so on and so forth. So but yeah, I have had a few meetings. We're actively working to get some schedules together, in scenario A, scenario B, and so on and so forth.
Yes. You mentioned you have a newborn child. You're a first-year head coach. We're trying to manage a pandemic and everything. Do you have any free time at all? And what do you get to do with that free time?
Yeah, you got to carve it out. You got to carve it out. Make what you can do, but we live in a great area. We're down in South Kingstown, so it's a lot of outdoors recreation. We can go for walks right around the park with the baby, and I like to surf, so every opportunity I have to get in the water, maybe for it's a half hour, an hour, I try to shoot down there, and we're in a good spot to do that too. So, but they're a little few and far between, obviously, with everything going on. But definitely like to get outside when I have the opportunity to do so.
Yep, I'm in Narragansett right now. I can look and see the ocean right there. I'm lucky enough to have that.
Nice.
You said you like to surf. Where do you usually like to
Yes.
go hit the waves?
Yeah, right in your area is a great area. Narragansett, Point Judith, Matunic, all good stretches of beach. I've been all over the area, so not only those areas too, but those are definitely my hot spots for sure.
All right, cool. Well, David, again, congratulations on being hired here at Sal Regina. Glad I could finally see you and that we could talk.
Absolutely.
And thanks for coming on the program, and hope you have a good weekend.
Absolutely, you as well. Appreciate it.
All right, that's David Lund, our Sal Regina women's ice hockey head coach. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with two women's basketball players to close out our winter sports here on a Friday. Brooke Vonasek and Mary Rorke will be joining the Seahawk Talk program. So we will step aside and be right back with them. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andy Pizzelli, filling in for Ed Habershaw, some load management here on Seahawk Talk on a Friday. We are joined now by special guests Brooke Vonasek and Mary Rorke. Ladies, how you doing here on a Friday?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. I think we're going to have a little bit of a delay, but that's okay. We'll work our way through it. Obviously, this was a different summer for everybody. Talk about, as teammates and then as a team, how did you guys stay in touch throughout the summer and maintain, especially you have incoming freshmen. I'm sure you guys know who's coming to the team. How do you guys connect with them? What was the summer like for you guys, for both of you?
So Coach did a really good job scheduling Zoom meetings, which were great to kind of just get to know each other and stay connected. Definitely difficult once we were on campus to get together, but throughout the summer, Coach assigned upperclassmen with underclassmen, which kind of gave everyone, especially the incoming freshmen, someone to go to if they needed anything, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And we've had meetings since being back on campus, so it was nice to be able to put names to faces and meet everyone in person.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you guys work out during the summer? I know for me here, they took down the hoops all around town. You couldn't go and play. What was it like for you guys in your hometowns? Was there a lot of driveway basketball hoops having to be set up to keep the game sharp over the summer?
There was a lot in my driveway. My brother was home too, so we would go out every day, and our neighbors would walk by and be like, "You're back at it again?" So it's definitely a lot outside and different than how it's been in the past summers.
Yep.
We're definitely lucky. It's nice. We have a sport where we can kind of do things outside, even ball handling. If we don't have access to a hoop, there's always something we can be working on, which is a good part of basketball.
Yeah. You talked about being back on campus now. Are you both back on campus currently, and what are your situations, and how has that return gone for both of you?
So I'm back. I actually spent the summer in Newport, but I changed houses. I'm living with Tor Scorpio, so it's kind of nice. Even though she's graduated, we're still together. And I started classes last week. I was in the nursing lab. We came back early to review skills, so it's nice. I'm settled in, and it's just good to be back, seeing everyone on campus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also back. I moved in on Monday. I live off campus in Middletown, and I'm student teaching this year, so we actually started school last week, so it's been busy already.
Wow. So, I mean, nursing, Brooke, are you going to have to do any sort of practical stuff this year and maybe be around in a medical environment? And then you married student teaching. I mean, those are the two most important areas that everybody's talking about in the world right now. What's it like to be wanting to get into those two fields at a time like this?
Right. For me, I'm thankful as of right now, I'm able to enter the clinical setting. So I'm at Charlton Hospital in Fall River and Newport Hospital. So it was kind of hard from what I hear to get students into the setting just because they're so cautious right now as to letting people into hospitals. But it's been good. I mean, in the spring, I was doing clinicals online and I was administering IVs by clicking a button. So I think it'll be good to be face-to-face with patients and actually be able to help people.
That's not how they do it. You don't just click a button.
Unfortunately, it's not that easy.
It's definitely, for me, I'm excited to be in the classroom because my school, I'm at Portsmouth Middle School, and we're in person every day. And there's a lot of schools where either student teachers aren't allowed in or you're going to be hybrid or fully online. So I'm just excited to be in person, get the most out of the experience.
Yeah. For both of you, talk about the upcoming season. Obviously, everything's pushed off till January. The element of the unknown. How do you guys handle that as now kind of veterans on the team and leaders on the team? How do you guys approach that unknown with the team?
You can go, Mary.
Okay. So throughout the summer, it was stressful. Like, are we going to have a season? Are we not going to have a season? But definitely we're taking it day by day and taking advantage of what we can do and like the small groups and working out on our own or only with one other teammate. and just trying to get better and take advantage of the time that we have in the off season to improve our games.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely waiting till January to have games and it being our senior season, not knowing how many games we're going to get is a little stressful, but I'm just thankful that, again, we have a team on campus and we're able to touch a ball and get together and start training for whatever season we will be able to have.
Yeah. With that element of the unknown for you guys, what are your goals for this season as a team?
First goal is to have a season.
Yeah, I figured that's an easy one.
No, we want to take this time and use it to our advantage. I mean, I think that it'll be easy for some people to push off training, knowing that the games won't start till January. But I think this is an opportunity for us to get going now and kind of get ahead of the game and get ready for competition.
It will also give us a lot of time for the freshmen and the underclassmen to get used to the team and really build a good team relationship.
Yep. Now, kind of more of a fun question. In the spring, when we were going through the lockdown phase and everybody's at home, there was we had to all come up with fun things to do. And a lot of people did the trick shot stuff, whether it's on TikTok or we're just sending snaps of trick shots. Did you guys do any of that at all? Get into that? And what was your best trick shot that you either did or that you saw somebody else do?
Oh, there was a lot of talk about us doing it, but we never actually followed through with it, which I'm a little upset about. So now that everyone's back at campus, maybe we'll have to do that for you and we'll put it together. But I saw a cool one where you throw the ball off the screen and someone else comes in and catches it. And they do some trick shots. So maybe we'll put something together and we'll get back to you, Andrew.
Okay.
My favorite's probably behind the back, off the backboard, and in. Okay. I haven't tried it though. I gotta give it a try myself.
Okay. Well,
I think if we pulled
that, to work on it.
Yeah, I think if we pulled those out in our games, I don't think someone would be too happy.
I don't know. We don't have Coach on here today. Maybe I can ask her that next week. How do you feel about any of those shots in a game?
Great.
It's one of those. If it goes in, you probably still get chewed out either way.
Coach is pretty good with some trick shots and her moves, so I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted to be a part of it.
that would be great if we can get Coach, because we showed last week her ball handling drills and the practice she does. She has a nasty handle.
She does.
Yeah. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on here today. Glad you guys are on campus, that you're both well. Good luck with school and working. But if you get into the clinical, and Mary working in a classroom, hope you both stay safe and have a good weekend as well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. That's Mary Rorke and Brooke Vonasek of the South Virginia women's basketball team. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break and then be back with myself and Joey Morelli to wrap up the program and send you guys into the weekend. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Andrew Pizzelli here to wrap things up. I'd like to bring our producers into the show now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Mike, you made it.
Yes, just barely. We had to pull the tarp and
And-
do some other things down at the field, but I'm here now. Happy to be here.
You guys take. No, I don't think anybody appreciates being a baseball player. You guys have to basically be groundskeepers too, as well. So you guys have to do an incredible amount of work on that field. I'm sure, even though we don't have games happening for forever, it seems, but Sorella, he's got you guys down there making sure that grass is pristine.
Oh yeah, and he does a lot of work on his own. He takes such good care of the field. So it's just we gotta do our part too.
Well, glad you could make it in. I don't know how much of some of our interviews you got to see, Mike, but Jory, obviously you've been behind the scenes the whole time here. What are your thoughts about just maybe kind of in general from our guests here today? Any thoughts?
Oh, I mean, Mike, if you want to go, or I don't know how much you saw.
I saw the last couple minutes of the two basketball players interview. Which hey, isn't that one of the first sports we're supposed to get back after that January 1st cutoff or something? That in volleyball.
I believe a women's basketball game is supposed to be, as of right now. Yes, women's basketball versus Wheaton on January 2nd should be our first game.
Yes, and
I'm
great
broadcasting
school.
that. I'm cutting my hair.
Yeah, you got. That's a great school to play in the first game too. Great conference they come out of, the NESCAC. Speaking of basketball, Celtics tonight too, Game 7. I mean, what are you thinking for that? Yeah. I'm nervous. I'll tell you, I'm nervous after that last game. So
it all depends on which team shows up. If the Game 1 and Game 5 Celtics show up, it should be. If they're the better team, if they execute. The Raptors have that heart of a champion, though, and so it's really hard to knock them out, to knock the Lions out. So you got to Celtics have to have their A game, and they have to execute for the whole game.
Yeah.
No let up. That's going to be the mentality.
For sure.
Joey, any of your thoughts on our guests here today?
I was just kind of thinking. I love having our regulars like Coach Foster on. He's great, but I love when we have new people, especially recent to Salve type people, talking to Coach Lund. I love hearing that kind of stuff too, like the new experience type of things. Those are always super interesting to me. And I wanted to mention, but it was right as we left, I was gonna comment it on YouTube. I was gonna ask if he ever went surfing out by the cliff walk, behind the breakers, because I'll see hordes of surfers there sometimes. When it's cold and really choppy, they just love it, and there's probably a couple dozen guys out there all surfing. And I'm always asking them, I'm isn't it cold? And they're like, yeah, but these are the best waves. I'm like, oh, if you say so.
It takes pros. I see it where I live. I live near the seawall in Narragansett, and guys love surfing over here. And even over at Point Judith, they get big swells. But there's, like you said, cliffs, rocks.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying.
When you get towards the end, how do you get off the wave? You either crash into the rocks or you're jumping off early into shallow water with a truck. How do you do it? I wouldn't be. I'm not a surfer. A body surf.
Not with that hair, Andrew. You're not a surfer.
I'll battle the waves. Oh no, this is flowing behind me on a bicycle. That's what's going on with this, or on a basketball court fading away.
Yeah.
But not a surf. I don't even know if I could learn it now, because it's like skiing and snowboarding. You just take so much punishment at the beginning. I don't know if I want to take the punishment to learn how to surf now. At least not. I'm not going to learn on the cliffs.
Oh god, yeah.
So
now if you start on hard mode.
Yeah, I am always impressed when I see
learn by doing.
Who can surf over there, because it's true, those are the best spots. But I don't get it. I don't get the danger. But hey, some people love the thrill.
Yeah.
Any other? No, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was going to speaking of the ocean. Actually, I was looking at a story today, and be careful if you're going out there. The flags have been raised to purple, I believe, which means swim at your own risk at state beaches in Rhode Island, because there have been it's a type of jellyfish called the Portuguese man-o'-war. So if you want to go on to Newport, I think it's RI News, go check out the story. Just be careful if you are going to the beach. But it's one of the last weekends to go, but just go at your own caution. So just wanted to give a quick heads up to everyone, trying to fit in those last couple weeks now, going to the beach.
I wanted
There's some
to see,
man awards out there. I'm not taking that risk.
Yeah, no. I
Never.
heard they're
huge.
like 30 feet long. I heard
They're
actually.
enormous, and they
Yeah.
will mess you up.
Here we go. That's if you
Oh,
guys,
here we go.
Joey, you want to pull that up?
Yeah.
There
that's
we
what they
go.
look like. And yeah, those tentacles there, you know, like you said, can be up to 30 feet long, and getting stung by one of those, not fun.
Yeah.
No.
That is not going to be a fun day. So yeah, they've had them at a couple of just Scarborough Beach here and Narragansett, same thing. So yeah, if you're when there's those signs that say keep out, stay out, listen to them. Listen to experts. That's a big message that I think everybody needs to hear.
Yeah, precisely.
So, yeah, the Man of War. Thank you for bringing that up because that's important, especially with
that is
David was talking
very
about.
important. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm not a huge fan of jellyfish or sharks. So
I was gonna say I'm waiting for I haven't been going to the beach much anyways. I'm gonna wait for the water to cool off. Maybe I'll go to the beach in October. A birthday dive for me. Joey, you had something interesting we talked about at the beginning. You know, we started the show a little somber. It's 9/11, never forget, and all that sort of stuff. You had found something that I think would be a great way to end the show, which was you saw these tweets. It was everything good that's happened.
Oh,
in
yeah.
2020. Where everybody, I mean, it's hard not to. It feels like there's just so much negative stuff going on because there is a lot of stuff happening that you can't ignore. But always going to try and highlight some of the positives when you can too. So some of those were really good. I'd like for you to
I was scrolling through just my timeline in Twitter and I found someone who's like, how about some good things that happened in 2020? So we got we got Africa has declared free of polio. Crew Dragon returns America to space. Pope Benedict XVI becomes the longest lived pope. 3 countries launch a spacecraft to Mars. And the last one is Animal Crossing New Horizons. So it's pretty good things. And another thing I'll just mention, I was looking for like some kind of more fun news, and CNN reported there was a woman in Michigan who got a postcard that was mailed out to her address 100 years ago. It got lost forever or something, and it's because it is postmarked October 29th in 1920, and it is to a guy she has never heard of from someone she has never heard of, and it is just whoever lived there, and it's just like a regular old postcard. It's like, hey, how's the family? We're doing this. How's your week going? And it just never showed up. But then some post guy found that in some back room on the floor underneath the table and went, I'm gonna send this. I'm gonna deliver this anyway. But this would be so funny. Like that's how mail carriers like prank people. They just deliver mail from 100 years ago.
Yeah, you got to think of all the misspelled, like misprinted, smudged letters. There's probably be a million of those sitting back in post offices around the country right now.
Yeah, no return address. That's
exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. A little bit of fun news. So, guys, another successful week of Seahawk Talk.
Yep.
Another one in the books. Plenty more to come. Thank you to all of our guests this week. Today we had Sean Foster, Colin Clapton, David Lund making his first Seahawk Talk appearance, our brand new South Virginia Women's Ice Hockey head coach. And then we had Brooke Vonasek and Mary Rorke from our women's basketball team. Again, special thanks to you guys, the guys behind the scenes, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Great work as always, and hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, everybody. That'll do it for this week of Seahawk Talk. I am Andrew Pizzelli filling in for Ed Habelshaw. Once again, we're live every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. You can find us on YouTube, on Facebook Live, and on Periscope through Twitter. You can always go back and rewatch the episodes. And if you want Seahawk Talk on the go, you can subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast, which will be an audio-only version of the show. We put it out at the end of the day after each episode, and you can go back and listen to every episode while you're driving, out for a run, out for a bike ride, out sitting in the park or out at the cliff walk, enjoying the waves. So no excuse to miss an episode of Seahawk Talk. So anyways, that's it. Everybody go enjoy your weekend. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. Take it easy, everybody.